Homelessness 2.0 day 87, I think. We'll find out. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Shouldn't be too long. But hopefully this cough isn't too bad on Friday because I'm going to do my driving test. I don't want to seem like I'm some sort of like just infectious bastard or anything. I need to get this shit over with. Like, I've been intending to do this for months now, and I've been actively working on trying to get it done in some capacity or another. That's like time delay and setback and time delay, and it's like, and I didn't do anything yesterday. I coughed so hard, at one point I had a headache for the rest of the day. Like, it was a painful headache. It wasn't anything like that, just, it sucked. So I didn't even go to the storage, so I gotta do that today. I'm gonna do that today because I gotta get the trimmer, clean this shit up. I get some of the food that's there, help with the, sauces and stuff. Because then, Friday I've got because I have to do like a thing a day, because if I try to do more than one thing at a time in a day, it's really difficult to accomplish. Like, I never went grocery shopping when I had a job, because, I mean, not on the days that I work, but I always shopped on my days off. It would have been easy to do if I had a car. And again, it goes back to that. It's like this city and this country works off of cars. And as much as I don't want to, I'm gonna have to, adapt back into that. Which sucks. Like, some people can make it work. Most of the time, they're living with family. They're not living on their own. And if they're not living with family and they are living on their own, they probably have a lot of money. Because one of the problems that I've learned about since I got here is that everything that is within reasonable proximity to a train station is not low income. Might be moderate, but that's rare. Almost everything near a transit station is of high income. Now, downtown is a slightly different situation, but even then, most everything that's like right next to the train station is expensive to live in. And it's like, do you understand that it's a feedback loop. It causes the same exact problem. It's like we don't think about this shit, and it's really annoying. It's like the people who need the train the most, the thing that goes the fastest, are the people who don't have the money for things like cars. Yet the people who have money for cars can not only take the train, which is the faster route, they can get to the train faster, but most likely their job is probably also in close proximity to the train station. So they don't really have to go anywhere to get to work. Case in point. Obviously one, but when I was still homeless and I was still relatively new to town, I think I was probably within the first 2 weeks. I met a dude just randomly. I was standing outside of the Pershing Square station. I was on my computer, and it was late at night. You know, pretty much everything was shut down. He was walking by. He looked really good. Like, his outfit was pretty cool. It looked kind of New Year's / Halloween-esque. I don't know. But he was coming back from some kind of party. I was like, hey, I like your hat. Thanks. Blah, blah, blah. We start talking, blah, blah, blah. Finds out, you know, homeless. And I didn't even have like tents or anything. And so he invites me to have, you know, sleep over at his place. And, you know, take a shower, do some laundry, whatever. And I mean, like, my clothes smelled like ass. And I think the reason why, I believe it was one of the first couple of weeks, because I think it was one of the first times I had done laundry in a while. So, go up there, like I said, took a shower. He even let me borrow some of his clothes so that I could wash all of my stuff. Super nice guy. And then, get up in the morning, and he's dressed in scrubs. Come find out he's an oncologist. A cancer doctor. Well, I was heading up towards North Hollywood because I was considering going to donate plasma that day. And he'd you know, drop 20 bucks into my wallet. I didn't even know it until he was gone. Which I would say that's a really cool way of doing it too. Like, let the person sleep over your place, clean up, eat, feed them and all that stuff. Let them watch. I was watching Walking Dead. I think it's the first episode. It didn't really, like, grab me. Those Kind bars are very dry. Like, I drink more water eating those Kind bars than I do most other things. But anyway. They're still good and tasty, relatively healthy. I think I have some more at storage, but I can't remember. I know I have some Slim Fast shakes still there. We'll see. Later. After this. After these messages. Ugh. Anyway, so yeah. And like he got off at like, I want to say it's I think he got off Kaiser at Vermont and Sunset, because I think that's where he worked. And that's the thing. It's like, it's literally across the corner from the train station. It's like, if you go to any of the train stations that are in Los Angeles, the vast majority of them don't really have much for either A, low-income housing or low-income jobs. Most of the jobs people have to take to get anywhere are off of bus lines. And the buses suck out here because the traffic is crazy. And so because of that, anybody who has who's in a low-income position also has low mobility. And, you know, been seeing some conversations, just basically bootlicking for, you know, we're talking about student loans and stuff. And it's like, they tell you, if you want a good job, you got to go to college. You got to get a degree because then you'll get your good job. So you have to take on that student loan debt. But because A, college prices have skyrocketed in cost, probably because of that kind of mentality, and thus people following suit. But not really, because again, it would track with inflation, and college tuition prices have skyrocketed beyond inflation. If they were more associated with supply and demand, then there would be more colleges as well. Because that would be the smart thing to do. You'd be like, hey, there's more people trying to get college degrees. There's more people going to college. Let's make more colleges. But there really aren't that many more. You know, there's these online bullshit Phoenixes or whatever the hell it is. But it's like, for the most part, you ain't really seeing new college campuses crop up. And if they are, they're probably private, which means they're gonna cost more. Because they're not subsidized by taxes like community colleges. And even community colleges, being what they are, because like, okay, UCLA is effectively a community college. Because it's University of California. It's a California college. It's not a private college. It's also one of the most populated colleges, I think, in the world. Not necessarily the, but one of. And it's out here in LA. But it's also a really great college, from my understanding. But a lot of people apply to it, a lot of people get in, but a lot of people don't. And when you get that degree, if you get your degree, you're not guaranteed a job anywhere, because you're never guaranteed a job. And with more and more entry-level jobs requiring things like bachelor's degrees for fucking no reason, because they don't actually need the bachelor degree. Oh, hey, there's... You know, it would have made sense to pull that off. Huh. Let us see. You know, I thought I had some schmutz stuck on here, but it wasn't schmutz at all. It was the little protective cover thing. And it... There we go. Now, we'll have a little bit of oddly satisfying going on here. If I can grab onto the shit. Damn it. Ta-da! Hey, when you get the chance, you do it. Because I was trying to scrape off what I thought was some schmutz, and then I dug a hole into that damn thing, and I was like, oh, like, what? And then it started peeling back a little bit, and I was like, yeah, okay, it's that protective cover crap. But anyway. There's a reason why a lot of people want student loan debt to be eradicated. But with Biden's remarks recently, and he's like, nah, let's go ahead and pay the police instead. It's like, well, fuck. Yeah, I mean, I knew I was... Look, I voted for Biden. I didn't vote for Biden because I wanted because I thought that Joe Biden was the best candidate or anything. I thought Bernie was the best candidate, which is why I voted for him in the primaries. But he didn't make it to the DNC. He didn't make it on the ticket via the DNC, even though... And here's the funny thing about that. The DNC and the RNC are private entities, not public. So, the people that we vote for, that we, the government, because we are the government, the people, vote for, are previously chosen by private entities. That's before the Electoral College BS. So, a lot of it is really horse and pony show. That's more or less the title. I think I'll just call it The Horse and Pony Show. And that's problematic in my opinion, because then that doesn't really give us that choice that we wanted. Which is one of the reasons why a lot of people were pissed, especially after 2016 when Trump got elected and Bernie got shafted, and Hillary ended up getting a ticket. And then again, same kind of thing with the fact that Bernie never got on the ticket, despite Biden not really being the popular choice among most Democratic voters. And so a lot of it is set up against you anyway before you even get a chance to vote. Which is why they regularly state that voting local is important. Vote for your mayor, vote for your, various, what the hell was the shit? I completely forgot the fucking titles. Damn it. Used to talk about them all the time with one of my former roommates, back when I was living in the sober living in the apartment, because he was really active in the political sphere. He would actually talk to a number of different elected officials. And so we had a lot of conversations about that, and about some of the things that they have to deal with, and some of the laws that govern. Like, there's certain laws that prevent them from having conversations with other people unless it is written down in some capacity or another. Like, it has to be recorded, because otherwise it's against certain laws and certain transparency laws and stuff like that. But anyway, get into the politics thing because of the fact that college is a thing. And why is college a thing? Well, college was a thing because it deals with income. It deals with how people can afford certain things. And these things can be affected by literal transportation options. Yeah, I know it seems like it might be a long stretch, but it's not. This is why people call certain problems systemic, because it's not just one thing. It is a conglomeration of multiple things. I should fart again, that felt good. It's a conglomeration of problems, and they all tie in with each other. And because they tie in with each other, it's not simply just a one deal fix, but there's some things that can assist with that. So, like, student loan debt. A lot of people are like, well, why should we give that up? And a lot of times the reason why they have a problem with that is because they've already gone through it. They've been able to push past the other side. And so they'll say in their own mind, they'll say, I've already done it. Where's my free ride? Basically, the tenet, if you will, of I got mine, fuck you. Now, in this case, they got their pain. Fuck you, I don't want you to get the pleasure. But we should want the people behind us to do better. because that's how you build a better world. You should want the people who follow, even if they're not necessarily following you specifically, but if they follow in similar, if they follow a similar path, you should want the path to be clearer for them. You know, if you're the kind of person who's like, I got mine, fuck you, then you're the kind of person who's like, hey, I got all this. You know, this is a pretty rough patch, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna till the land to make it harder. Like, no, that's more effort than you need to fucking do. But two, like, you've tread on the ground. You've made the ground slightly easier to walk on. If you have enough people, the ground becomes even easier to walk on with regards to, you know, certain footwear and whatnot. The human foot is very fascinating when it comes to, like, walking on uneven ground, and, like, it's better to do that than to have shoes. That's another conversation for another day. But which is why it's really easy to, you know, turn your ankle and stuff. And that's why, you know, boots and whatnot have really high ankle, really high tops, because they help to prevent you from turning your ankle. Whereas in reality, you want to be your ankle to essentially turn, but you don't want it to turn the way that it does when you're wearing a shoe, because your whole foot's moving instead of part of your foot adapting to the uneven ground, because you've got this relatively hard bottom that isn't malleable and it's not going to shift. So the whole foot turns, and so that's why you twist your ankle. The shoe causes problems in certain environmental situations, but nevertheless, let's talk about trotting on the ground and whatever. So that's the issue. The issue is there's a lot of issues. And, well, okay, going back to the student loan debt thing, it's like, what exactly is that money funding? All that money that those people have to pay into, what is it funding? Because if anybody has ever taught you about principal and interest with regards to loans, one of the first things they're telling you is that, at least for the first year, and it's generally not really that, it's more nuanced than that, but generally for the first year, you're not even paying on the principal, you're paying interest. So when you pay student loans, you're not paying for your education that you are supposed to be paying for. You're paying interest to the people who control your loans, which are private organizations that just happen to be working in Congress with the government. So you're paying private companies for them to hold on to your loan. They have no incentive. What incentive do they have for you to finish paying your loan? They don't. So they lobby against anybody talking about changing the way that student loans work, because that's cheaper. It's like advertising. All right? Why do you get advertisements for so many damn things? Because advertising works, despite whether or not you want it to. Just knowing about it is enough. And I don't know if you've seen any ads, especially like on YouTube and the like, But sometimes you're gonna see like a lot of you're gonna see like the same company pop up a lot, like all at once. You'll see the same commercials pop up over and over again. Or you'll see a slightly varied, or you'll see like a different commercial for the same company, right? And I'm not going to name any because I don't want to be giving them any fucking ad revenue for free because they ain't paying me nothing. So, okay. Water. Water's not a company. Water is a thing that we consume. It's in this glass. There's not much of it left. But if you start seeing ads for water all the time, and it's like this water, and it's, maybe it's a water company. I don't care, but I'm not naming any, but it's just water. If you keep seeing water over and over and over again, that's because they just dumped a bunch of money into the system so that they can be part of the advertising algorithm. And you'll probably also see a good chunk of sponsorships around that time too. Now, they may be delayed. So you might see all these ads for a certain thing, and then a couple weeks, maybe even a couple months later, you start seeing certain creators with the sponsorships from that same company. And maybe it's more than one, and it's weirdly coincidental that, and it's not necessarily coincidental when it's like similar creators, it's like cooking channel stuff, right? But then maybe you see other, and especially if it's not associated, if they're not associated at all, you'll see like the same sponsorship crop up within a couple of days from people. Creators that may not even have anything to do with each other. It's because they dumped a bunch of money not only into advertising revenue, but also into sponsorship revenue, which is still advertising revenue, really. It's just that it's done in a different fashion. And they don't have to produce a commercial, or they don't have to buy a commercial that somebody else made, or anything of that nature. They just threw some money at a creator, and creator's like, all right, it's a good amount of money. Let's go for it. A good sponsorship is from a creator who uses that product. Who, if anything, they used it before they got the sponsorship. Because even if it's one of those situations where, like, no pressure, blah, 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 you can try it. If you don't like it, you don't have to. But they know that works too. They know about the anchoring effect. They know that the same person's probably not getting 15 kitchen knives or 15 different, vacuum sealed beds, or, 15 different website creators, or 15 different meal prep situations, or whatever it may be. It's one, and it's probably usually the most prominent one because they have more money. And a lot of times the reason why they're more prominent and why they're able to rise up as quickly as they are is because of investors. A lot of times it's simply just seed money. And this goes back into like loans. Like, there's so much, I gotta have a conversation about this specifically and how it affects everybody, and start trying to break down each little piece and how it's affected by certain things. And it could effectively go back to fucking slavery if you wanted to, if you give it enough time. And it's not necessarily because of slavery per se, but maybe it could be. And, that's the thing. That is what systemic things are. They are so interconnected, and they are so persistent that they've and they functionally work, that they've lasted for literal decades and centuries. And so because of that, we can't break the whole thing wide open as quickly as we want to, even though revolution is generally how most things work like that. Because if you want true revolution, you want the fallback that comes after. You got to break certain things, but you got to break big things. But breaking those big things can be difficult. Breaking a big thing like student loan debt, and I didn't even get to the point with that because I went on to the tangents about all the systemic stuff. The people who are paying into student loans, who aren't even paying for the loan itself because they're still paying interest, and if you've ever seen any of those tweets about it, a lot of times they're paying sometimes 200-300% in total what their original loan was for. That money that they have that is simply feeding the loan companies, the banks if you want to call them that, but it's more nuanced than that when it comes to Freddie Mae and Sally, whatever the fuck they are. Sally Mae or Freddie Mae or fuck, I don't even remember. I don't have any student loan debt because I never took out any. But I also don't have an education. At least not in that traditional sense. My education that I've had through college has been government funded. Through Pell Grants and the like, federal and financial aid. But that money could then go back into the economy, the actual economy, not rich people yachts, which is what the stocks are, which is what rich people are really talking about. Like, that's the thing that I like, is when rich people talk about the economy, just replace economy with rich people yachts. And that's really kind of what they're talking about. It's their stuff, it's not us. Actual economy. The economy. The fucking economy, you know? The economy, stuff that we use on a regular basis that we need to replace. The economy, fucking napkins. And it's not necessarily like, yeah, paper towels, planned obsolescence if you think about it that way, but like they're useful in their disposability as well. This is not a paper towel. It's also useful in its non-disposability. That's why I have both. I don't use this when I'm wiping my face while eating. I use this because that's a more disposable scenario. And I use maybe 2 of these for most meals. So it's not like I'm being super wasteful. Anyway, but that money goes back into the economy. That allows people to fix their cars or buy a car or fill their car with gas or, you know, replace their tea kettle or repair their tea kettle, whatever it is. Pay for their kids' fucking sports equipment. It doesn't matter what it is. Buy a new phone. Who fucking cares? And that's a part of the problem. It goes back to a previous conversation or previous video where we simply like to judge people on what they're buying stuff. I mean, it's the same reason why people don't give homeless people money. They'll be like, "Oh, he's probably just gonna spend the money on drugs." Who fucking cares? But he's probably not. And even if he did, maybe that's another conversation to have. Maybe you need to not worry about what he spends his money on. And maybe what you need to do is help make it to where we have a society where that's not a problem. But no, your response is, I'm not only gonna not do anything about it, but then the people who are suffering, I'm gonna talk shit about and judge their behaviors. It's inhumane. It really is. And we need to stop doing that. Have fun.